The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter number 12, text number 9. Given by His Grace, Sriman Sankarshan das Adhikari. Recorded on May 18th, 2012, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Achatityam samadhatum, atachittam samadhatum, nasakshnosi maistiram, nakshakshnosi maistiram, abhyasa yogena chato, abhyasa yogena chato, mam mitchaptam dhananjaya, mam mitchaptam dhananjaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of bhakti yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Purport. In this verse, two different processes of bhakti yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. And the other is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to ultimately be elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. At the present moment in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can become purified, and in that purified state, they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. In this material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money, and the master also is not in love. He simply takes service from me and pays me. So there's no question of love, but for spiritual life, one must be elevated to the stage, the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by practice of devotional service performed with the present senses. This love of God is now in a dormant state in everyone's heart. And their love of God is manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and that dormant, natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole process. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple, and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam, and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow, and one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God, and then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga, under the rules and regulations, with the direction of a spiritual master, will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Ritam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Zavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. So, as Prabhupada points out, there are two types of processes indicated by this verse.
Както Шрила Прабхупада посочва, има два вида процеси, които се описват в този стих.
The first process is described by Prabhupada in English with the word attachment.
Шрила Прабхупада описва първият процес с английската дума attachment, което означава привързаност.
In Sanskrit language, the word is asakti.
На санскрит думата е asakti.
The asakti stage is a very exalted stage.
Нивото на асакти е много издигнато.
It is the beginning, Prabhupada explains, of pure love of God.
Шрила Прабхупада обяснява, че това е началото на чистата любов към Бога.
Asakti transforms into bhav, which transforms into prem.
Асакти се преобразува в бава, която от своя страна се превръща.
So it is a stage where somebody is completely beyond the modes of nature, is completely purified.
Това е стадий, на който човек, който го достигне, е напълно отвъд гуните на материалната природа, напълно пречистен.
So that state is far beyond us at the present moment.
И това състояние е далеч отвъд нас.
So there's a second process for those of us who are not in the asakti stage, described in this verse.
Има втори метод, който е за тези, които не сме на нивото на асакти, и той също се описва в стиха.
And that is the process of Vaidi bhakti.
Това е процеса на Вайди бхакти.
Following the regulated principles of bhakti yoga.
Или следване на регулиращите принципи на бхакти йога.
Someone may say, well, that's mechanical. I just want to do what's natural.
Някой може да каже, но това е механично. Аз искам да правя това, което идва естествено.
For me, spiritual life is natural. I just want to be a natural man.
За мен духовният живот означава нещо естествено. Аз искам да бъда естествен.
So don't ask me to do something that's unnatural. I just want to be natural.
Затова не ме карайте да правя нещо, което не ми е естествено. Искам да бъда естествен.
But this is not a very intelligent understanding.
Но това разбиране не е много интелигентно.
As I was explaining last night, one may have a natural desire to eat ice cream and cake.
Както с нощи обясних, човек може да има естествено влечение да яде сладолед и торта.
But if he's sick in the hospital with a severe disease,
но ако той е в болница и страда от тежка болест,
the doctor will put him on a very austere diet of salad and soup.
Лекарът ще му наложи много строга диета на супа и салата.
He doesn't like the diet,
на него не му харесва диетата,
but he accepts the diet
но той я приема,
because the doctor has assured him this is what you have to do to get healthy.
Защото доктора го уверява, че това е което трябва да направи, за да се излезе.
Now, if he cheats on the diet,
обаче ако той се опитва да не следва диета,
and has somebody sneak some ice cream and cake into his hospital room,
и някой негови приятели му донесат в болницата сладолет и торта,
it will kill him.
това ще го убие.
So one has to understand one's position in devotional service
Затова човек трябва да разбере своето положение в
and act accordingly.
и да действа в съответствие с него.
At the present moment, we are very contaminated.
В сегашния момент ние сме много замърсени.
We're full of lust.
Изпълнени сме с похот,
We're full of anger.
гняв,
We're full of greed.
алчност,
Full of madness,
лудост,
illusion,
илюзия
and envy.
и завист.
Therefore, we require this Vaidic Bhakti process, rules and regulations,
Затова ни е необходим този процес на Вайди Бхакти, правила и предписания,
to bring us to the stage of Asakti and then Bhava and Prema.
за да се издигнем до нивото на Асакти и след това Бава и Према.
So one may say, well, how does it really work? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
Някой може да се запита, добре, как работи всичко това? Аз не намирам смисъл в него.
But here's how it works.
Ето как работи.
You already have Prema within your heart.
Вие вече имате тази према в сърцата си.
Pure love of God is already there.
Чистата любов към Бога присъства там вече.
As Prabhupada has explained very clearly in his Bhagavatam purport.
Както Шрила Прабхупад много ясно обяснява в коментара си към
And this was not simply some preaching strategy. This is Prabhupada's words of absolute truth.
И това не е някаква проповедническа стратегия, това са абсолютна истина. Думите на Прабхупад.
Prabhupada clearly explains in his purport how we are originally in the spiritual world with Krishna,
Шрила Прабхупад обяснява как изначално сме били в духовния свят с Кришна
in a relationship of loving service with Krishna.
и нашето взаимоотношение са били на любовно служене към Кришна.
But then, as pointed out in the Prema Vivarta,
Но след това, както се казва в Према Виварта,
Krishna Baitarmukha, we turned our face away from Krishna.
ние сме загърбили Кришна.
Then why I should serve Krishna?
Защо да му служа?
I want to be Krishna.
Вместо това аз искам да бъда Кришна.
So Krishna gave us a place where we could imagine that we are God.
И Кришна ни дава място, където можем да си въобразяваме, че ние сме Бог.
But that does not deny our original nature,
Но това не отрича нашата изначална природа,
as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
както е потвърдено от Шри Чайтаня Махапрабху.
The fact that we fell into this material existence doesn't change our actual nature.
Факта, че сме попаднали в материално съществуване, не променя нашата изначална природа.
Jivera Surapahai Krishnera Nityadas Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. Lord Chaitanya clearly states in his instructions to Sanatana Goswami that the constitutional position of a living entity is he's the eternal servant of Krishna.
Бог Чайтаня много ясно казва в своите инструкции към Санатана Госвами, че органически присъща позиция на живото същество е вечен слуга на Кришна.
He is Krishna's Tatasta Shakti, marginal energy.
Той е Татаста Шакти на Кришна или негова междинна
And
енергия.
he is a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord.
И то е негово проявление едновременно еднакво и различно с Бога.
Some people say we fell from the Tatasta Shakti.
Някои личности казват, че ние сме паднали от Татаста Шакти.
But that doesn't make sense because we are Tatasta Shakti.
Но това няма смисъл, защото ние сме Татаста Шакти.
Whether the living entity is in the spiritual world serving Krishna as a Nityasiddha,
Независимо дали живо същество се намира в духовния свят и служи на Кришна като Нитя
or he's in this material world as an eternally conditioned soul.
или се намира в материалния свят като вечно обусловена душа.
In both cases, he is Tatasta Shakti,
И в двата случая е Татаста Шакти,
as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
както е потвърдено от Шри Чайтаня.
Krishnera Tatasta Shakti. So that is our position. We're Krishna's marginal energy.
Това е нашата позиция. Ние сме междинна енергия на Кришна.
And that marginal energy is a manifestation of Krishna's internal potency.
А тази междинна енергия е проявление на вътрешната енергия на Кришна.
So essentially, we are Krishna's devotees.
Така че в своята същност ние сме предани на Кришна.
But because we are Tatasta Shakti, marginal energy, we have an option, a choice.
Но понеже сме междинна енергия, ние имаме избор.
It's kind of like having a dual citizenship, two passports.
Това е нещо като да имаш двойно гражданство, два паспорта.
You see, you have your Goloka passport, that's your original citizenship.
Имате своя Голока паспорт, това е вашето изначално
But you
гражданство.
also have a passport for the material world, you see.
но също имате и паспорт за материалния свят.
So if you ever want to check it out, what it's like to be God, you have a passport.
И ако някога искате да проверите как би било да бъда Бог, имате паспорт за това.
So, you may say, well, why Krishna gives out dual citizenships?
Вие може да кажете, но защо Кришна раздава такива двойни гражданства?
That is actually, to have the option of loving Krishna or leaving Krishna is essential because love can, Prabhupada explains, love cannot be forced.
Този избор, дали да обичаме Кришна или да го напуснем, е много важен да го имаме, защото
Love must be voluntary.
Защото любовта не може да дойде на сила, тя трябва да е доброволна.
So actually, that Tatastha Shakti is, identity is a pretty good deal, really. It's a pretty good deal.
Всъщност това да имаш идентичност на Татастha Shakti е много добра сделка.
Because that gives us the facility to actually love God out of our own volition.
Защото това ни дава възможността наистина да обичаме Бога по доброволност.
You cannot love anybody by force.
Никого не може да обичате на сила.
Love has to be voluntary.
Любовта трябва да бъде доброволна.
Therefore, Krishna has blessed us with this Tatastha Shakti identity.
Затова Шри Кришна ни е благословил с тази идентичност.
In Sanskrit, every word has meaning.
На санскритски всяка дума има значение.
So this word Tatastha, it also has meaning.
И тази дума Татастha има смисъл.
Tata means beach or border.
Тата означава бряг или граница.
And sta means situated.
А ста означава установен.
It's like we have Rajasthan, Pakistan, Hindustan, microphone stand.
Както имаме
We have Tatastha,
тези имена, също имаме така и Татастан.
one who is situated on the border, dual citizenship.
Този, който се намира на границата, има двойно гражданство.
It's not that there's a third world called the Tatastha world. It's not a third world. There's two worlds, the spiritual world and the material world.
Не е така, че има трети свят, който се нарича Татастha. Има два свята, духовен и материален.
Tatastha Shakti means a consciousness of being able to go either way.
Татастha Shakti означава вид съзнание, което може да се прехвърли от едното в друго, както избере.
So this way we can truly love Krishna.
По този начин ние можем наистина да обичаме Кришна.
Because we have the option, being situated in Tatastha Shakti, to go either way.
Защото ние имаме този избор, установени в Татастha Shakti, да преминеме.
So you can say we're beach boys, you see.
Не може да се каже, че сме такива.
We're actually beach boys. That's our identity, beach boys. We situate on the beach.
Ние сме живеем на плажа.
We can go to Maya, we can go to Krishna. We have that choice.
Можем да отидем или при Майя, или при Кришна. Имаме този избор.
So many people get confused. They say, well, Krishna says those who come to my abode never fall to this material world. So how can we ever come here? They say it doesn't make any sense.
Някои хора се объркват и казват, щом Кришна каза, че този, който се върне в моето обител, никога не трябва да идва тук. Тогава как сме дошли?
That means they're not carefully reading the words of Krishna.
Това означава, че те не четат внимателно думите на Кришна.
Because Krishna says those who return to my abode will never fall down.
Защото Кришна каза, тези, които се завърнат в моето обител, няма да паднат там.
That means we were originally in Krishna's abode, we fell here, and when we return, we won't come back again in this material world.
Това означава, че ние веднъж сме били с Кришна, след това сме паднали тук и когато се върнем, няма повече да пожелаем да паднем.
There's a saying in English, once burned, twice shy.
Има такава поговорка на английски, парен каша духа.
See the little boy in the kitchen. The little boy, he's wandering into the kitchen. His mother is cooking on the gas stove.
Малкото дете се разхожда в кухнята и майка му готви на печка.
And that blue flame there looks so beautiful.
И този
so pretty.
Пламъка на гъста изглежда толкова, синия пламък изглежда толкова привлекателен.
So the mother sees the little boy is fascinated by the flame up there on the stove.
И майките вижда как детето гледа пламъка с кокора.
My dear son, whatever you do, don't touch that flame because it will burn.
Тя му казва, сине мой, каквото и да правиш, не дей на пипай пламъка, защото ще
Just like Adam and Eve, they said, don't, whatever you can eat whatever fruit you want, but this fruit you cannot have, the forbidden fruit you cannot have.
Както Бог казва на Адам и Ева, ящите каквито искате плодове, само този забранения плод не го яде.
Oh, this is the forbidden fruit. Well, then I must taste that one, you see.
Те казали, щом е забранен, точно него трябва да.
So this is the forbidden flame.
Така че това е забранения пламък.
I must experience what is that forbidden flame, you see.
Трябва да усети какъв е този забранен пламък.
So when the mother's in the kitchen, he cannot do. The mother will prevent him, you see.
Но ако майката е в кухнята, тя няма да разреши на детето да пипне пламък.
But when the mother walks out of the kitchen, oh, now's my chance.
Защото майката излезе от кухнята, тогава детето си казва, ето сега ми падна.
Sticks his hand in the fire, you see.
Веднага си слага ръката.
And then he's screaming and crying. The mother comes running. What happened? Oh, she understands the boy tried the flame, you see.
Той плаче, крещи, и майката идва и разбира какво се е случило.
So will he stick his hand in the fire again?
Мислите ли, че пак ще пипне огъня?
No way. He'll never do it again, you see.
Никога повече няма да го направи.
So we may fall down this material world once.
Ние можем да паднем в материален свят един път.
Out of curiosity, since we have that dual citizenship. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. We have a relation, as Prabhupada quotes Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we have a relationship both with the material world and the spiritual world.
Бхактивинода Тхакур казва, че ние имаме взаимоотношения и с духовния и с материалния свят.
So one may check it out once, since you have that dual passport. What's the other world like, is it?
Тези два паспорта човек може да провери един път, да види как изглежда този другия свят.
But once you come here and you experience how horrible this place is,
Но дойдете ли тук и усетите ли колко ужасно е това?
it's like going into the mouth of Agasura.
Това е едно да влезете в
This place is hell.
устата на Агасура.
You got to get old. You got to go deaf.
Това място е адско. Трябва
You get sick.
да остарявате, да
You die.
разболявате,
So many diseases of the body. I mean,
умирате толкова.
every time you get in the car, you got to worry about a traffic accident.
Всеки път, като се качите на колата, може да...
Every time you get on an airplane, you have to worry about a crash. Just like 7 devotees were just killed in Nepal. It's a horrible tragedy. 7 devotees just died in an airplane crash in Nepal.
Ако се качите на самолет, трябва да се притеснявате, че може да стане катастрофа, както 7 души прямо дадени в Непал.
Such a dangerous, horrible place this material world is, you see.
Материалният свят е много опасно, ужасно място.
So, this, the horrible nature of this material world is actually a blessing.
Всъщност тази природа на материалния свят е една
It gives us impetus to return back to our original home, back to home.
Защото тя е стимул за нас да се върнем в нашия изначален дом, обратно при Бога.
So the way back to home is to follow these rules and regulations.
И пътят обратно към Бога е следването на тези правила и
Chant at least 16 rounds every day of Hare Krishna Japamalan.
всеки ден да се мантруват по 16 кръга поне Харе Кришна Джапамала.
Strictly avoid illicit sex,
Стрикно да се избягва забраненият секс,
meat eating,
месоядството,
intoxication,
интоксикантите
and gambling.
и хазарта.
Take diksha or initiation from the bona fide spiritual master.
Да се приеме дикша или посвещение от духовен учител,
Follow his instructions
да се
faithfully.
следват с вяра неговите наставления,
To rise early in the morning and all the things that Prabhupada has mentioned here.
да се става рано сутрин и всички други неща споменати от Прабхупада.
In this way, by embracing the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, the rules and regulations,
В този начин, като приемем изцяло процеса на Вайди Бхакти,
then that natural, original, dormant, pure state of prema, which you have locked inside your heart right now, will come out.
тогава този изначален, спящ в сърцето ни любов към Бога, ще се прояви.
Just as a match has fire within it,
Както кибрите съдържа в себе си огън
and simply requires striking,
и има нужда просто да се драсне клечката,
you have pure love of God in your heart right now.
вие имате в сърцето си чиста любов към Бога.
The striking process is Vaidhi Bhakti, rules and regulations of devotional service.
И процесът на драсване на клечката всъщност е този
Rules and regulations are not the goal.
процес на Вайди Бхакти, които правила и предписания, но те не са целта.
The goal is to become attached to Krishna.
Целта е
That's the goal.
привързаност към Кришна. Това е целта.
That's why our society is not called the International Society for Rules and Regulations.
Затова и нашето общество не се казва Международно общество за правила и предписания.
This is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness or Krishna Attachment. Same thing.
Това това е международното общество за Кришна съзнание или за привързаност към Кришна. Това е едно и също.
We want that you should become attached to Krishna. That's the whole point of what we're doing here.
Всичко, което правим тук е да ви помогнем да станете привързани към Кришна.
Because when you're attached to Krishna, you will lose all attachment for all the sources of misery.
Защото когато сте привързани към Кришна, ще загубите цялата си привързаност към всички източници на страдания. Нещастие.
Just like that Gopi girlfriend. She warned her other Gopi friend. Smeran mangi traya parachitam sachi vishtirna drishting vangshi nistadara kishalayam ujvalam trandakena govindyakam haritanam itaha krishni tirtapakante ma prakshashastava yadi sake bandhu sange sirangaha. This is described by Rupa Goswami in the Vidagdha Madhava.
Шива Госвами обяснява в Видагда Мадава как една гопи казала на своята приятелка.
Then, my dear Gopi girlfriend,
моя скъпа приятелко,
if you have any attachment for society, friendship, and love in this world,
ако имаш някаква привързаност към обществото, любовта и приятелството в този
then whatever you do,
каквото и да правиш,
do not go tonight to the bank of the Jamuna at Keshigat.
Не дей да ходиш тази нощ на брега на Ямуна при Кешигат.
Because if you go there is a beautiful boy there named Govinda.
Защото ако отидеш там има едно красиво момче, което се казва Говинда.
And he has a very, very sweet smiling face.
Той има много приятно усмихнато лице.
And he puts his flute to his lips, which are just like newly blossomed twigs.
И той слага флейтата на устните си, които са като разцъфнали клонки.
His threefold bending form. He's standing there with his beautiful threefold bending form.
Той стои там в поза, извит на три места.
Very bright in the moonlight.
Много сияен на лунната светлина.
So do not go, Saki. Do not go, Saki. Do not go.
Така че, Саки, приятелко, не отивай там. Не отивай.
So, the point is, of course, that gopi, she immediately went. If you become attached to Krishna, nothing of this world will ever lure you ever again. This is Sakti stage you will achieve by doing Vaidic Bhakti. You see? It takes time. You have to be patient. Because we've been attached to Maya for millions and billions of lifetimes. But if you will faithfully execute the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga, that day will come when you become completely in love with Krishna. And nothing of this material world will be able to divert your mind from Krishna even for a nanosecond. And that is called Krishna consciousness. Krishna asakti. And that's what we are developing here by this process. So I can ask now if there's any questions.
Понякога имаме за дълъг период от време повече служени. Какво да направим в такъв случай, когато не можем да ставаме по-рано? Имаме повече служени. Нямаме време да се почиваме през деня.
Sometimes for a period of time we have more service and then we cannot wake up early in the morning because we don't have time during the day to rest. So what to do in such case?
This is farming work, huh? Well, you have to do the best you can during the harvest season, or the planting season, or summertime. One has to sincerely, to the best of their ability, adjust themselves to get their sadhana done and their service done at the same time. Sometimes people have work schedules also that are not conducive for sadhana. They get a job or they have to, go to work and they work a night shift, for example.
Понякога хората имат такава работна смяна, например, нощно време трябва да работят и също.
So there are situations that sometimes arise that are very difficult to work around.
Понякога нашето положение става толкова трудно, за да се
But
справи.
the sincere devotee, he will always get his chanting done, no matter what.
Но един искрен преданен винаги ще си мантрува кръговете, независимо какво става.
That's the key. You have to just be very sincere to chant your rounds every day.
Това е ключа. Човек да бъде много искрен да си мантрува.
Even if for some reason, due to your work schedule, you cannot do everything. At least you must chant your round.
Дори поради някаква причина, заради работата, не може да си...
But always try to adjust. Just like I had that, I many times explained, the first job I got was I had to work from 11 at night till 8 in the morning.
Моята първа работа, аз работих от 9 вечерта до 8 сутринта. От 11 до 8.
So, how you can go to Mangalarti if you're at work?
Как може да отидеш на Мангаларати, ако си на работа?
But I'd been a brahmachari for 14 years, and I tell you, I was totally addicted to Mangalarti.
Но аз бях брамачари в продължение 14 години и бях се
I mean, I couldn't dream of not going to Mangalarti.
Аз не можех да си представя да не хода на Мангаларти.
But what to do?
И какво да правя?
11 at night till 8 in the morning. Oh my God.
От 11 през нощта до 8 сутринта.
But then when I reported to work, my supervisor, he said, nobody likes to work this night shift.
Но тогава моят супервайзер на работата каза,
So we don't mind if you take a long lunch break every day.
никой не обича да работи нощна смяна.
So there it was. I took my lunch break from between 4 and 5:30.
Може да се вземеш дълга обедна почивка и аз я взимах между 4 и 5.
4 o'clock, I would head out from work to go pick up Vishnupriya Mataji at the apartment, drive her to the temple, we'd attend Mangalarti, then I'd drive back to work after Mangalarti.
В 4 часа тръгвах от работа, взимах Вишнуприя Матаджи.
So even if you have a work schedule that's very taxing on you, if you're sincere, Krishna will help you to somehow get your sadhana in.
Ако си искрен, Кришна ще ти помогне по някакъв начин да се включиш саданата в
You just have to have that sincere desire, as far as possible, to
график.
do the programs. I mean, I missed Tulsi worship, and I caught the tail end of Bhagavatam class too. I'd get off at 8 and catch the last few minutes of Bhagavatam class. So, any other questions?
Някакви други въпроси?
Какъв е критерия, че сме в Кришна съзнание и постъпваме правилно в Кришна съзнание?
What is the criteria that we are in Krishna consciousness and that we act properly in Krishna consciousness?
The way to act properly in Krishna consciousness, according to Rupa Goswami, as cited by Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar Devotion, is you have to accept a spiritual master,
Човек трябва да приеме духовен учител
you have to follow his instructions.
и да следва неговите инструкции.
If you're acting under the order of your spiritual master,
Ако следваш инструкциите на духовния си учител,
doing that which pleases your spiritual master,
правиш това, което го удовлетворява,
then you are properly situated in Krishna consciousness.
тогава ти си правилно установен в Кришна съзнание.
One has to always think, is my spiritual master pleased by this thought I'm having right now?
Човек винаги трябва да мисли, дали моят духовен учител е удовлетворен от тази мисъл, която ми минава.
Is he pleased by the words coming out of my mouth?
Удовлетворен ли от думите, които излизат от устата ми?
See, devotee should control what comes out of his mouth.
Правилно да трябва да контролира своите думи.
Not that I can speak any nonsense and say, well, I don't know what happened, it just came out of my mouth.
Човек не трябва да говори всякакви глупости и след това да каже, не знам, просто ми си изплъзна от устата.
Prabhupada explains that gentleman thinks twice before speaking anything.
Шрила Прабхупад казва, че един джентлмен мисли два пъти преди да говори.
One should always be very careful in one's speech,
Затова човек трябва винаги да е много внимателен в думите.
to only speak words that will please my spiritual master.
И винаги да говори думи, които удовлетворяват неговия духовен учител.
And then if one is thinking always in that way and speaking always in that way, naturally you'll always act in a way that's pleasing to the spiritual master.
И ако човек винаги мисли по този начин и говори по този начин, естествено той ще действа по същия начин.
Questions more?
Други въпроси?
Yes?
Понякога, като се обръщаме към мантрата, казваме първо името на Рада Рани тя е по-милостива от Кришна, но винаги става въпрос за Кришна, забавлението на Кришна, Кришна е в центъра. Какво трябва да е нашето настроение към Радарани?
It is always said that we speak about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes, but when we chant the Mahamantra, we first address Srimati Radharani in the Mahamantra. So
we're addressing Radharani, yes?
Yes. So what should be our attitude towards Radharani? Because we always speak about Krishna and his pastimes.
What are Krishna's pastimes without Radharani?
Какво са забавленията на Кришна без Радарани?
Krishna alone is having pastimes?
Кришна сам си се забавлява.
Krishna's pastimes means Radharani.
Забавленията на Кришна означава Радарани.
What boy wants to be without his girlfriend?
Кой момче иска да се забавлява без
He
приятел?
always wants to be with his girlfriend.
Той винаги иска да е своята приятелка.
So Krishna's pastimes means Radharani is there.
Затова забавленията на Кришна, Радарани винаги е там.
Radharani is our mother.
Радарани е наша майка.
Therefore we beg her mercy that we can have access to Krishna. Hare! And then we say Krishna.
Затова ние се молим за нейната милост да имаме достъп до Кришна. Затова казваме Харе първо и след това Кришна.
Questions more?
Някакви други въпроси?
Матара Прабhu.
Моят въпрос е свързан с саданата на децата. Каква садана трябва да се, защото те са мънички. Да обясниш, че трябва да чакат.
His question is related to the sadhana of the children.
The what? Sadhana of children?
Sadhana of children. What sadhana should they follow? Because
the children means a small child naturally will imitate the parents and like to engage in activities with the parents. So the parents should always be engaged in doing devotional service, and they should always engage their children in doing devotional service with them.
Природата на децата е, че те винаги имитират това, което правят родителите и обичат да правят това.
Sadhana for children means throw away take the television set out of your house immediately. No TV.
За да имат сада на децата, трябва най-напред да изхвърлите телевизора от къщата си.
Because the TV will completely pollute them.
Защото телевизора напълно ще ги замърси.
I've seen there was one family we visited their house. And they found that TV was a very nice thing because they could the child would sit all day and watch cartoons, Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny, you know. They didn't have to bother telling the child anything. They could do whatever they wanted and just put the child in front of the TV and the child doesn't bother them the whole day.
Те си мислят, че не е нужно да казват каквото и да е на детето, просто телевизорът то се залепя за него и цял ден стои.
That child became so polluted.
Това дете стана толкова замърсено.
That when I visited their house, I sat down on the couch in the living room.
Когато посетих дома и ми седнах на дивана.
And he threw a temper tantrum. You know what temper tantrum? He went into a fit of anger. It's called a temper tantrum in English. Go into a fit of anger. And I couldn't figure what's going on here.
Yes.
The kid I sat down on the couch, and the kid became like anger. He exploded with anger. Then I found out that was the spot he would sit to watch the cartoons on the couch. That was his throne, you see. I am God. This is my throne. This is where I watch Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny. He couldn't think, a spiritual master visited my home, a devotee has visited my home. Let me be respectful to him. He couldn't think that at all. All he could think is my place where I watch Roadrunner. You see.
То не си мислеше, това е духовен учител и прямо и в дома ми трябва да се държа уважително. То си мисля, това е моето място, където гледам.
So if you want your child to be Krishna conscious, get the television out of there.
Затова, ако искате детето ви да е Кришна осъзнато, махнете телевизора от къщата си.
And you have kirtan. Engage the child in doing kirtan. The whole family sits together and does kirtan every day. And read and discuss from Prabhupada's teachings. You have to teach the child how to develop a taste for hearing Krishna Katha.
Кришна ката, да слуша Кришна.
When there are lectures, Krishna conscious preachers are giving lectures, you should bring the child and let the child develop a taste and an attachment for hearing the lectures of Krishna consciousness.
Когато проповедници на Кришна съзнание дойдат, накарайте детето да стои да слуша лекцията, за да развие вкус.
How did Prahlad come out of the womb of his mother already as a pure devotee?
Как мислите, че Пралад излезе от утробата на майка си вече в чист преданен?
Hearing within the womb of his mother.
Докато е бил в утробата на майка.
You see? So that hearing process, you have to get the child to sit and hear Krishna Katha.
Затова вие трябва да накарате детето да седне и да слуша Кришна.
Where the child only wants to hear about Krishna.
Докато детето започне да иска да слуша
Any topic which is not Krishna conscious will be completely boring for the child.
всяка тема, която не е Кришна осъзната, ще му е много скучна.
If you can train the child like that, the child will become a great saint, I guarantee you, a great saintly devotee of the Lord.
Ако обучите децата си по този начин, те ще станат велики святи предано отдадени на Бога.
So that gives you something to work on.
Ето ви нещо, върху което може да работите.
Something to shoot for.
Нещо, към което да се
Raising your child. I wish you all success.
Докато отглеждате детето.
Your child is here?
И аз ви желая пълен успех. Тук ли е твоето дете?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay. Any other question?
Искам да попитам, ако човек има духовен учител, който вижда веднъж годината или по-малко от годината, как той може да разбере дали духовният учител е удовлетворен и до каква степен това ще повлияе на развитието на правилно дане?
If a devotee has a spiritual master which he sees only once a year, how he will understand that the spiritual master is pleased and how this will influence the relationship with the spiritual master?
If the spiritual master is only seen once a year by the disciple, how will the disciple know if the spiritual master is pleased and how will he develop a relationship? Srila Prabhupada specifically asked this similar question one time. He said the GBC and the temple president are there. So your local leader, he is the representative of the spiritual master. So if you please him, then the spiritual master is pleased. Let's say, for example, I go to work, I get a job at Ford Motor Company. And I think, I want to become a very good, recognized employee of this company. So I'm going to do everything that will please Mr. Ford. So then they say, okay, well, here's your assignment. And they give you some assignment, but like 20 miles away from Mr. Ford's office. You say, no, I have to please Mr. Ford. I have to work right in his office where he can see me every day. Then they explain to you, no, my dear sir, you in this other plant 20 miles away, you have a supervisor who reports to a supervisor who reports to a supervisor who reports to Mr. Ford. And if you please your immediate supervisor, then Mr. Ford is pleased with you.
Те ви казват, не, на това място, където ви пращаме, ще имате надзирател, който има свой надзирател, и така той докладва на господин Форд.
This is called disciplic succession.
И ако удовлетворите директния си надзирател, тогава
these are called Siksha Gurus, you see. Those authorities who represent your Diksha Guru, they are Siksha Guru.
Това се нарича ученическа последователност и Шикша Гуру са тези представители, които...
By pleasing them, you are pleasing your spiritual master.
И като удовлетворите тях, вие удовлетворявате и духовния си учител.
And even though the spiritual master is only coming once or twice a year, for example, to a place,
и въпреки че духовният учител идва един или два пъти годишно на дадено място,
at least between me and my disciples, they have constant access to me at any time by sending me an email.
Но в моя случай с моите ученици, те имат постоянен достъп до мен чрез имейл, интернет.
So anytime they have a question, they can immediately ask me.
Затова винаги, когато възникне въпрос, те могат да ме попитат по почтата.
And as far as the relationship with the spiritual master goes, the spiritual master has two different forms. He is present in his body, as the Atma seated in the heart of the body. And he's also present as Vapu, or Vani, or the instructions that he gives. So, one who actually accepts the order of his spiritual master as his very life and soul, he takes those instructions of his spiritual master into his heart and embraces them. The spiritual master is in his heart at every minute. And he is also in the spiritual master's heart. So that relationship is constant, uninterrupted, 24 hours a day. Direct personal relationship with the spiritual master. Prabhupada explains that this presence of the spiritual master, the Vani presence, is more important than the Vapu presence, the physical presence. Of course, whenever the spiritual master is physically present, one should serve him with all love and devotion. See that all of his needs are met. He has nice prasadam, clean room, clean laundry. That makes nice transportation arrangements, everything you should arrange for him. But when he's not physically present, you serve as representative, and you serve his instructions. So in that way you're never separated from your spiritual master. Even though Prabhupada is departed 30 years ago from this planet. Well, what is it now? This is 1977. How many years ago? More than 30 years.
35.
Huh?
35.
35 years ago, yes. 35 years ago. But still, those devotees who are completely dedicated to Prabhupada, they feel Prabhupada's presence at every minute within their heart. They feel Prabhupada's presence just as much now as they felt when they were sitting in front of him when he was sitting on the Vyasasana. So it's simply a matter of the sincerity of the disciple. Sometimes I had to go 2 years not seeing Prabhupada, for maybe 2 years sometimes I would go. But I always felt that Prabhupada is with me, blessing me and guiding me at every minute. Question?
Isn't a disciple following the instruction of the spiritual master in devotional service becomes blissful, and that it can be seen that if they are seeing the spiritual master or not?
You're asking a question?
Isn't that a symptom of a disciple who is following the instructions?
That he becomes blissful? Is it a symptom of one who is strictly and sincerely following the spiritual master's instruction that he's always blissful? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm. And that is the symptom that he is pleased.
No, is it the question or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that when seeing the spiritual master he becomes more blissful instead of depressed? Or
and seeing and when the spiritual master physically comes, he becomes more blissful?
His bliss increases.
That's what I said, more blissful. He becomes more blissful when he sees the spiritual master. Yes. The answer is yes. Oh no, the spiritual master has come. I have to do more service now. Oh no. That means he's not dedicated to the spiritual master. He's just dedicated to serving his senses.
това означава, че той е посветен да служи на сетивата си, а не на духовния учител.
Any other question?
Други въпроси?
Какви качества трябва да развие предан дарения по пътя на Кришна съзнание?
What are the qualities a devotee should develop on the path of Krishna consciousness?
There's a list given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 26 qualities of the pure devotee.
Има списък с 26 качества на чистия преданодарен, дадени в Чайтanya
You can
Charitamrita.
study that list.
Може да изучиш този списък.
He's peaceful.
Той е умиротворен.
He's equipoised.
Еднакво разположен във всяко.
Doesn't eat more than required.
Не яде повече отколкото е нужно.
He's expert.
Той е опитен.
Poetic.
Поетичен.
Silent.
Мълчалив.
Silent means not that they don't speak, it means they don't advertise themselves. I am great.
Мълчалив не означава, че не говори, просто не се хвали, че е велик.
So there's a very nice list, 26 qualities of the devotee, given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You find that list and study the list, and you develop those qualities.
Има 26 качества в този списък. Намери го, изучавай го и развивай тези качества.
Very respectful to all devotees.
Да се отнася с голяма почет и уважение към
Very humble, not wanting to be recognized, but wanting to give all respect and recognition to others.
Да бъде много смирен, да не иска почет за себе си, а да е готов да отдава на другите всяка почет и уважение.
Questions more?
Други въпроси?
Guru Bhakti.
Във връзка с историята, която с този инцидент, който се случва с предано дадените, които загиват в Непал, иска да попитам как може да сме по-осъзнати за това, че смъртта може всеки момент да дойде и да... Как може да увеличим нашето съзнание, като имаме тази медитация, че смъртта е винаги близо до нас.
You mentioned this accident with the devotees in the plane crash. So her question is related to how can we become more aware of this impending danger of death, and in this way develop our Krishna consciousness.
How can we become more aware of that death can come at any minute, and this way become more Krishna conscious? Be sober. If you develop a sober vision, be realistic and sober and honest about the situation every day. At any minute, death can come. You just have to be honest and sober about the reality of the situation and not be carried away with some false idea of enjoying this material world. There's a pastime in this connection of Prabhupada. The airplane was flying, and Prabhupada was sitting and riding the airplane. Also, our Pusta Krishna Prabhu was on the plane with Prabhupada. And it hit a place where it just dropped. They call it an air pocket. The atmosphere couldn't support the airplane in that place. And the plane just went. And everybody was scared. They thought they were going to die. Pusa Krishna Prabhu said it felt like your stomach was in your head. It was really hellish. So after it was over, he got up from his seat, went up to where Prabhupada was sitting to see if Prabhupada was okay. Prabhupada was sitting there very peacefully without having any disturbance whatsoever. And he stated, we can die at any time. So that feeling you must have, I can die at any time. I can die right now, it's okay. Krishna wants Rake Krishna Mareke, Rake Krishna Mareke. Krishna wants to kill me, nobody can save me. If Krishna wants to save me, nobody can kill me. Krishna wants me to die immediately, it's okay, I'm ready, I don't care. I just want to serve him in any way that he wants me to do. In this body, another body, spiritual body, I don't care. Whatever Krishna wants, that's all.
Просто искам да продължавам да му служа в това или в друго тяло, или в духовно тяло, няма значение, каквото Кришна пожелава.
That way you're already a liberated soul, even within this body.
И по този начин ти винаги оставаш освободена душа дори в това си тяло.
No anxiety.
Без никакви безпокойства.
Any other questions?
Други някакви въпроси?
Въпросът е свързан с това, което казваш Санкаршан в началото на лекцията и за това, че любовта не може да се наложи сила. Следващия въпрос, първият въпрос по-точно коментира, че трябва да бъдат наложени някакви предписания в тази връзка и да се демонстрира някакво налагане по някакъв начин на определени моменти, които трябва да се следват. Въпросът е къде е разликата между любовта, изразът на любовта към това, че трябва да се следват определени предписания и чистото формално вкопчване в предписанията, което изключва всъщност любовта към Бог.
Се опитам да съм го схванал добре, малко да го се кажа. In the beginning you mentioned that love cannot be forced, but then it was also said that in order to develop our love we should follow some rules and regulations. So how this fits, because is this not also some kind of forcing?
So the question is, love cannot be forced, but yet we're told we have to follow rules and regulations to develop love for Krishna. So isn't that force? That's the question. The answer is no, you don't have to follow the rules and regulations, because no one's telling you have to love Krishna.
Отговорът е, ти не трябва да следваш правилата и предписанията, защото никой не те кара на сила да обичаш Кришна.
In other words, if you want to love Krishna, if you want to develop love for Krishna, you have to follow the rules and regulations. That's a fact.
Ако ти искаш да развиеш любов към Кришна, тогава трябва да следваш правила и предписания.
But no one's forcing you that you have to develop your love for Krishna. If you want to remain not loving Krishna, that's your free choice.
Но никой не те кара на сила да развиваш любовта си към Кришна. Ако искаш да не го обичаш, това си е твой избор.
Въпросът ви беше не за себе си, а за другите, за това как да убедиш другите, които, да кажем, твоите деца или твоите близки. От една страна ти трябва да ги кажеш, ти трябва да правиш това, от друга страна трябва да го правиш доброволно. С убеждението, че трябва доброволно да го приемат. Това беше идеята за другите.
His question was related to how to explain to others that they have to...
This is what I told you. You have a free choice. You can love Krishna or you cannot love Krishna. It's your choice. No force.
Може да им обясниш, че те имат свободен избор, дали да обичат Кришна или
да не обичат. If you want to love God, that's your free choice. If you don't want to love Him, that's your free choice.
Ако искаш да го обичаш, това е твоя избор.
And if you want to awaken your love for Him, then here's the system how to do it, given by God Himself. If you love someone, will you serve them? My dear friend, I love you very much. And your friend says, well, I really need some help. Can you help me? Oh, no way. I don't want to help you. If you truly love someone, you will serve them. Isn't it a fact? So Krishna tells us, if you want to serve me, here's what you do. You follow my instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. So, service is natural for one who wants to develop their love of God. It's natural to serve Him. It's not forced. Because you don't have to develop your love if you don't want to. But if you want to develop love for God, you will naturally do what God says in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for your excellent pravachan.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, he said that if Krishna and Radha are our original parents, then why we should go through all these rules from the Shastras to approach our parents?
Okay. If Radha and Krishna are original appearance, then why all the rules and regulations are necessary? So the answer is this.
Ако Рада и Кришна са нашите изначални родители, защо са необходими тези правила, за да се обърнем към тях?
For one who is described, Krishna has answered your question already in the Bhagavad Gita.
Говори вече на този въпрос в Бхагавад Гита.
This verse is the answer to your question.
Този стих е отговора на въпроса.
For those who already attached to them, there's no need for so many rules and regulations.
За тези, които вече са привързани към тях, няма нужда от правила и предписания.
And for those who are attached to this material existence, who are addicted to material sense gratification, they require some remedial measure. Just like I may become suffering from a disease called amnesia. And I go into a state of amnesia and I see my parents, but I don't even recognize that they're my parents. So then they have to bring a psychologist in to put me through some remedial measure to help me again realize, yes, these are my parents. For one who already realizes they're the parents, there's no need for any remedial measure. But for that person suffering from amnesia, they have to bring a psychologist in to do some remedial measure, to bring him back to his consciousness, you see. So for a liberated soul, there's no need for any remedial measure. But for one who is conditioned by the material nature, they require remedial measure. So what is your second question now?
The second question was, this question of dying and death. Of course, we'll all die one day, that's for sure. But the thing is, the process of death is one in which only the material body becomes dysfunctional. Because real you and real me is that infinitesimal part of the Lord, which is within our heart. It's within us and outside of us. And actually, in the Gita, I think chapter 2, the Lord says that it is something which fire cannot burn, water cannot drown, swords cannot cut. It is always there. There is no time when it wasn't there, and there will be no time when it will cease to exist. Therefore, we are immortal by definition. So why should we worry too much about the demise of the material body, for example? Your thoughts, please.
Thus the soul can never be najayate mriyate vadakajachan nayang budva vavita anandavuya. In this way, if for the soul there's never birth and death, why we should worry about the demise of the material body? And it's a fact, the devotee doesn't care. He doesn't worry about it at all.
Въпросът беше, ако душата е безсмъртна, защо толкова трябва да се притесняваме за смъртта, защото това е свързано само с...
Devotee's only concern is that I can always remember Krishna. This is only concern.
И това е така, за правилно отдание единствената тревога е да винаги да помни Кришна и да не го забравя.
If Krishna wants to take my body right now, I have no objection. I don't care.
Ако Кришна иска да вземе тялото ми в момента, аз няма възможност.
Let me always remember Krishna, that's all. His only concern is I must always remember Krishna. That's all he has to worry about. Let me not be carried away by the razzle-dazzle of the material existence, all the glitter of the material existence, so I forget Krishna. That's his only concern. But the reality is we're very distracted by this material world. It makes it hard for us to remember Krishna. That's why the bhakti yoga system is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells us, Man manavamad bhakto majajimang namaskuru mam mevashashi yugvayavang admanang matpadayanaha. Then, my dear Arjuna, this is what you do. You engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your obeisances unto me. In this way, through this remedial process, you become fully absorbed in me and you will come to me.
Кришна инструктира Арджуна казвам Арджуна преди това, стани мой...
Chapter 9, text 34.
Винаги ангажирай ума си в мисли за мен, стани мой предано отдаден, отдавай ми почет и ме обожавай. Така напълно потопен в мен, ти със сигурност ще дойдеш при мен.
So any other questions?
Но и някакви други въпроси.
Maria.
Как се развива истинско смирение?
How to develop real humility.
The way Lord Chaitanya has given us a very nice formula how to develop real humility.
Бог Чайтаня ни е дал много хубава формула как да развием истинско.
He states in his Shikshastakam prayers,
В своите молитви Шикшаштака той казва:
offer all respect to others
да отдаваме цялата си почет на другите,
without expecting any respect back in return.
без да очакваме от тях почет и уважение.
If you'll always practice this in all of your dealings with everybody,
Ако вие практикувате това в своите взаимоотношения с другите,
you will become perfect in humility.
вие или ти ще станеш съвършена смирение.
Even if someone is very rude and disrespects you,
Дори някой да се отнася грубо и да не те уважава,
you should return their disrespect with respect.
трябва да се отнесеш с почет и уважение.
That is humility.
Ето това се нарича смирение.
Any other question?
Други някакви въпроси?
Yes.
In the material world, everybody is very attached to the body. Isn't that why Krishna talks about birth, old age, disease and death? So we have to get out of the cycle of birth and death.
В материалния свят всички са привързани към тялото и не е ли за това Кришна говори за раждане, болести, старост и смърт и как трябва да се измъкнем от тях?
So the question is, because we're very attached to the material body, that's why Krishna tells us to get out of the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease.
Because it's going on repeated births, repeated...
Is this why he tells us to get out of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease?
Затова Кришна казва да се измъкнем от повтарящото се раждане.
Yes, the answer is yes. We are very attached to enjoying through these senses.
Ние сме много привързани да се наслаждаваме чрез тези сетива.
And because we're addicted to sense gratification, we take birth after birth after birth after birth.
Но тъй като сме пристрастени към сетивото наслаждение, ние се раждаме отново.
Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada advises Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam. You should engage your senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha.
Затова Шрила Рупа Госвами ни съветва да се ангажираме в служене на Ришикеша, господаря на сетивата.
Because in this way you get out of that addiction to the material sense gratification.
Защото по този начин ние се избавяме от...
We don't deny the senses.
Не така, че ни отричаме.
That I can't see anything, I can't hear anything,
Не трябва да
I can't taste anything.
да слушам или да вкусвам каквото и да било.
We see the beautiful form of Krishna.
Не, ние виждаме красивата
We hear the wonderful Hare Krishna Kirtan.
Чуваме прекрасния киртан.
We hear the wonderful teachings of Vedas, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, etc.
Слушаме прекрасните учения на Ведите, Бхагаватам.
We engage our senses, Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevanam. We engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses.
Ангажираме сетивата си в служене на господаря на сетивата.
In this way, we want to take birth again.
По този начин няма да се налага да се раждаме.
We regain our original forms in the pastime of Krishna in the spiritual world.
И възвръщаме своята изначална форма в забавленията на Кришна в духовния свят.
So, any other questions?
Някакви други въпроси?
I have a friend, he's a web developer. So
Friend who is what?
Web developer.
Okay.
And he was half joking with me. He said, I'm not a Brahman, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm a worker. So if I'm ordered to do something, I have to do it. If, for example, if I'm ordered to do some, nasty website, I have to do it. This is my duty, like meat selling or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your comment on that?
Yes. So if one is an employee of some company and they're telling you have to develop you develop websites for businesses, and a butcher shop wants to develop a website, then you have to do that, or a porno site that wants you to develop a really nice, attractive.
This is what he meant actually.
Huh?
This is what he said actually. I just a little bit edited.
Yeah, but I'm giving the example. So is that proper for me to do those things? Or is it not proper? So there's a matter of degree here, because actually if you want to be a complete purist, you won't be able to work anywhere in this material world. Just like, for example, for a period of time, I was supporting our preaching center by doing a travel agency business called Travel Rama. It was my clients were devotees who wanted to go from the U.S. to Vrindavan and Mayapur. It's a very big business for a while, a very successful business. I cornered the market for a while, the devotees going from the U.S. to the Holy Dhams. But I also had, other people, Indian people would call me, and mostly they're vegetarians too. But some people, I had some meat eaters, non-veg, who bought tickets from me. And they got on that plane, they ate the meat. And I sold them the ticket, which included the meat in it, you see. So where do you draw the line, The point is, you can't do anything in this world that's completely pure. Prabhupada explains this in the Bhagavad Gita purport. That Krishna says, in every endeavor there is some kind of fault. Just as fire is covered by smoke, in every endeavor there's some kind of fault. So the point is, it's very difficult to find a profession in this material world that's completely pure. Completely pure. It's very, very difficult. You may sell somebody, you may be a car salesman. You think, well, this is okay, it's neutral. What do they use that car? To rob a bank. You see? I mean, you may sell a kitchen knife and someone uses it to murder somebody. You see? So how do you the point is, Prabhupada explains that for a Brahmin, in every order of life, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the Vaishya, he has to sometimes tell a little lie. You say, I have a special sale here, no profit. We're selling it to you less than cost.
Best price.
Best price. I know, I have a devotee friend, his name is Gayatri Prabhu, my godbrother. Before he became a devotee, he went to work at a music store. And what he did, he was really in a salesman mood. He marked up every single piece of music equipment in the whole store. Every instrument was marked up, big markup on every instrument in the whole store. And then he said sale, and he lowered the price. Store-wide sale, 20% off. But actually it was a markup over the original cost. And the boss was very pleased because he's made a huge profit. It was just completely cheating, Completely cheating. Everything was marked up and it said 20% off. He marked up everything. The whole store was marked up 30%. And then 20% off sale. So it was actually a 10% markup of everything. It was called a 20% off sale. And it was very successful. People fell for it, you see. So in every businessman knows, if he's going to be successful, he has to know the truth, the technique of bending the truth in his favor, you could say. Or maybe really, really bending the truth. So, that's not honesty. That's not a Brahmin, you see. But even a Brahmin, sometimes they have to do these sacrifices in which animals are killed, Prabhupada explains. Of course, the animals are rejuvenated. So Prabhupada says in every endeavor there's some kind of fault, but what you do, the result, that's the important thing. I mean, if it's too gross, it's better to switch to another company. In other words, a web developer, why are they working for someone else? They can have their own independent business, and they can choose which contracts to take and which ones not to take. An experienced web developer, he can be a freelance. He doesn't have to work for some company. Be a freelancer. And he can tell, the porno and the meat shops come, he can say, forget it, I'm too busy right now. You see? The point is, you avoid this stuff as much as possible, but there's going to be times when you're stuck and there's not much you can do. I mean, you have to be avoided as much as possible. That's all.
We have to translate something.
Huh?
We have to translate at least something.
Translation was
yeah. Sorry. I forget sometimes.
Добре, моят въпрос беше, аз имам един приятел, с който работя и който вчера тия дни се шегуваше така, шега ме пита, добре, аз не съм нито брамана, нито вайшия, нито кшатрия, аз съм просто работник, шудев известен смисъл и трябва да правя каквото ми поръчат и той буквално ме провокира и казва, дори ако ми поръчат да направя порно сайт, трябва да го направя.
И това, което Санкаршан обясни, цитирайки Прабхупада и Бхагавад Гита, че няма абсолютно чисто задължение в занимание в материалния свят, както, нали, аз ще го синтезирам в две-три изречения, както огънът винаги е покрит от дим, така и няма абсолютно чисто действие, което, нали, професия, която ние да можем да извършваме. Например, ако продадем кола, нали, някой може да използва колата, за да обере банка. Ако продадем нож кухненски, може някой да го използва за убийство. Значи въпросът е, от една страна се свежда до това какво правим с резултата от нашата дейност, от друга страна се свежда до нашия избор. Например, ако говорим за конкретния, нали, веб разработчик, ако той е много добър, нали,
So the real bottom line is, what do you do with the profit from the income derived from that activity? That's the real bottom line.
Така че истинският въпрос е какво правим с прихода от тази дейност.
Do you use it in Krishna's service or use it for sense gratification?
Дали използваме за служене на Кришна или за стимул наслаждение?
If you use it in Krishna's service, you're protected from whatever impurity may be there.
Ако използваме служене на Кришна, сме защитени от каквото и замърсяване да има.
But if you use it for sense gratification, then you're stuck with the karma.
Но ако използваме за стимул наслаждение, тогава кармата си остава за нас.
One has to be a Krishna-conscious Sudra, a Krishna-conscious Vaishya, a Krishna-conscious Kshatriya, and a Krishna-conscious Brahman to be relieved from the reactions.
За да се освободи от реакциите, човек трябва да е в Кришна съзнание, независимо от това към коя варна принадлежи.
You simply say, well, Shudra Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, Brahman, you still get the karma.
Някой може да каже Шудра Дharma, Vaishya Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, но човек си остава с кармата.
But when you make it Krishna Dharma, you turn your Shudra activity into Krishna Dharma, Vaishya activity, Krishna Dharma, Kshatriya activity, Krishna Dharma, Brahman activity, Krishna Dharma, then you're relieved of all the sinful reactions.
Когато използваме своите дейности като Кришна Дharma, тогава, независимо от нашата варна, се освобождаваме от всички греховни реакции.
Okay, all right.
Isn't there another solution to this? You do whatever you have to do, however nasty or disagreeable it might be. But according to this, I think it's second chapter in Bhagavad Gita, offer it to Krishna, karmanyeva adhikaraja ma phaleshikaraja.
Isn't there another solution? Whatever you're supposed to do, however nasty it is, if you do it, then, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, without attachment to the fruit, then isn't this also a solution?
That without attachment to the fruits is often misunderstood. That means the fruits have to be offered to Krishna. Not that I take all the fruits and I enjoy them, but I'm not attached to it. I take all the fruits and I keep it for myself, but I'm not attached to it. There's karma and there's karma yoga. People say, well, I do my duty, I do my work, therefore I'm karma yogi. No, you are karmi. But when you offer the result to Krishna, then you are karma yogi. Simply doing my duty, that is karma. But doing my duty and offering the result to Krishna, that is karma yoga. The big difference.
But if you offer the work itself, job itself, and also the fruit of it, then does it make you free completely?
What's the question?
If you offer the work and the job from the work.
The fruit, the work, means there's fruit from the work. That fruit has to be offered to Krishna.
Yes, of course, yes. And the job as well.
You offer the work and the fruit from the work. Isn't
this
free?
The way to offer the work is to offer the fruit.
Okay, all right.
If you don't offer the fruit, the work isn't offered. You can't say, I'm offering my job to Krishna, but all the income is for me.
You're offering both the job and the fruit.
If the fruit is offered, the job is automatically offered. That's how you offer the job to Krishna, by offering the fruit to Krishna.
So does it make you free from any sinful activity?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you offer all of your money to Krishna? You could just take all your income and donate to the temple every week, but then you have to pay your own bills. How do you do that?
човек може да вземе целия си приход и да го даде на храма, но как си плаща сметки?
You give as much as you can to the temple of your regular, every paycheck, give as much as you can to the temple and to the preachers. As much as you possibly can. But whatever you need for yourself, spend it all in a Krishna conscious way. Make your home into an ashram, a place of spiritual cultivation.
Right, that is understood. I'm sorry to take so much of your time, but the thing is, there is a problem. Because in India, for instance, there are a lot of people who think, I'll go to the temple, offer Lord Krishna, say 100 rupees, and I'll pray that my son or daughter will pass his examination. Now, is Krishna dying for his 100 rupees? And how can you offer him anything? He owns everything anyway.
Yes, it's just like that song. Give me a Cadillac, a brand new Cadillac, replete with Michelin tires. Give my wife a new silk sari. Give my kids a Harvard education. Give me a house by the sea. Om Jaya Jagadish Hari. This is not bhakti.
But this is a serious problem.
This is material. This is kama. They want God to fulfill their lusty desires. You see, that is not bhakti. That is kama.
Who is going to teach them that this is wrong?
Huh?
Who is going to teach them that this is wrong?
Huh?
Who is going to teach them that this is wrong?
I am teaching. Prabhupada is teaching. This is why we're distributing. This is why we're flooding the world with Prabhupada's books. In India, we do huge quantities of. We have millions of Prabhupada's books are being distributed all over the world. Massive book distribution. We're doing it in India, and here we do many books here as well. We have very fired up book distribution here. This literature distribution is the way to educate. In India, they will go to one factory, they'll approach the factory owner, that you purchase 500 Bhagavad Gitas, and one for every employee, and they'll buy 500 Gitas and give every employee Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada Gita, as it is. So this literature distribution is the key. Distributing Prabhupada's books is the key to educate the mass people. So our time has run out, and I thank you all very much for your attendance tonight at this program. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rajya Vidya Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Srila Sankarshana Prabhu ki jai.